afternoon. Welcome to ELL Plus with me, Ilaria Cafaro.
And me, Ellen Coughlan. The headlines for today.
On the eve of Brexit, Lewisham Council answers questions from EU citizens wanting to remain in the UK.
Fighting food waste, a shortage tech company builds an app to help reduce the amount of food we throw away.
75 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, Hackney Town Hall holds a ceremony to mark International Holocaust Memorial Day. Tomorrow is Brexit Day, when the UK leaves the European Union. Many EU citizens living here are uncertain about how their residence status might change.
So, Lewisham Council has held an event to help clarify the complexities around Brexit and answer some questions from concerned EU citizens living in the local area. Melina Havoutis reports.
After the early general elections, where Boris Johnson returned to power with a big majority, the Brexit legislation passed. The new withdrawal agreement now sets out the terms for the UK's exit from the European Union. Lewisham Council has noted the risk Brexit poses to the community and has organised a meeting to inform and direct people on their next steps.
I have had sort of requests from people living in my ward in Blackheath about where do they need to go and is the council providing any support. And in that case, I've forwarded them here, and we're providing a free verification service for EU residents here at the council. We're trying to push that. But I am aware of some complicated cases, and what I don't want is a repeat of the awful Windrush scandal that's affected many people in this country from Caribbean heritage.
According to the council, over 23,000 EU citizens live in the borough. 20,000 have applied for settled status. Over 10,500 have already been granted settled status. And over 6,000 have been granted pre-settled status.
I am flying back home next month, so I don't know. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen, but it would be really odd if I would get stopped in the airport and, but things might happen, I don't know. And for my parents, I think, I'm not sure. I don't know if they'll have to apply for a visa or a visitor's pass.
Just yesterday we were citizens and now we're second class residents in a country that is having a major identity crisis.
I have almost been in tears. I am absolutely devastated by the ineptitude of this government and about how Boris Johnson is a total and utter liar. And he's led the public up the garden path, and I'm disappointed in the British public for not understanding what Brexit actually means and the whole process that we are having to go through.
The Brexit anxiety has overcome some and has been underestimated by others. The Home Office website provides the instructions needed to apply for the EU settlement scheme. But not everyone finds this simple.
I don't have an Android phone, and I used someone else's, and it simply didn't work. Like, I couldn't. You have to take a picture of your passport and actually scan it. If you have a chip passport, then you just need to run the phone over it, and it didn't work, and then I just lost my patience and temper.
The feeling of uncertainty echoes within the event. With the withdrawal agreement terms constantly fluctuating, people are wondering what their next step should be and how they can remain in a country that they call home. Melina Havoutis, East London Lions, Lewisham.
To further explain the implications of Brexit for EU residents here, I'm joined by Jonas Paintner, a master's student at Goldsmiths University of London, who specialises in global politics.
Thank you for joining us today, Jonas.
Happy to be here.
So, Brexit is happening at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. Do you expect it to be met with celebration, sadness, or even empathy?
I guess all the three of them. The question is who reacts how and why. I think it's quite a privilege to react celebrating, because Brexit will have very bad consequences for most part of society, and so most people have very good reasons for being very sad about it. And I think furthermore that even those that are celebrating now at least some of them, might reconsider their position, and when they start feeling the bad impacts, they may turn from celebration to sadness as well. Well, in terms of apathy, I think there needs to be strong political action now, and apathy would definitely be an obstacle.
So how much of a political hornet's nest do you think Brexit is having in effect in the EU? Do you think other countries will follow suit?
It's quite a big question. I mean, there have been several exit attempts from several countries throughout the European Union. I had the chance to study one semester abroad in Greece, actually thanks to the European Union, such an Erasmus program. And over there I was in the aftermath of the big public discussion around Grexit, which emerged from 2015 onwards. So it was a huge issue, and there are also some other countries and regions throughout Europe where people advocate for an exit, even in Germany, where I'm from. And but I think like Germany is profiting highly through the European Union on the back of many other countries, especially in the European South. So who campaigns for an exit in Germany actually doesn't know the political situation at all.
I see. And what do you think about the implications in UK politics after Brexit?
Well, I guess the implications are huge. Many people are looking towards Scotland and Ireland, of course, in terms of the independence referenda over there. And generally, I guess, like with Brexit, the UK exits formally, but still it is the biggest economic partner of many European countries in some sectors. And so the UK will still be very impacted by all decisions taken in the EU, but can't participate in those decisions. So quite a bad outcome, I would say.
So what happens now in the transition period?
I have the feeling that everything is quite unsure and unsecure. For example, I myself, the other day I was asking my health insurance whether I'm covered still after Friday, after the formal Brexit date, and the response was quite unclear, so I do not know if I'm fully covered or in which cases, in which not so. Big insecurity, I would say, in several areas. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jonas.
It was a pleasure, thanks.
Food waste is a serious problem in the UK, where 2 million tons of food is thrown away every year. Food waste around the world contributes up to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions.
Now, a shortage tech company has designed an app to help tackle the problem. Anna Maria Tesfaye has more.
It is easy for people to dispose of their unfinished meal, but more waste is coming from behind the kitchen. Uncooked produce and unsold products are a major source of food waste. According to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, around 1/3 of food produced ends up being thrown away. UK citizens create 173 kilograms of food waste per person. Its value is around £200 million a year. The average family of 4 can save just over £60 per month by reducing their food waste. To better match the food and the needy, Too Good To Go is asking food stores and businesses to join their project, selling unsold food close to its expiry date at discount prices. They believe this could create a win-win situation for stores and customers while doing their bit to tackle the food waste problem.
In our short history, we have over 20 million users who, along with over 30,000 different businesses, have rescued over 30 million meals from going to waste. So this is something we're immensely proud of, and it's something we continually want to do to have a positive impact about fighting food waste.
Stores and cafes are well classified into different categories. People can find produce, baking goods, desserts, and even hot meals. The friendly interface allows customers to enjoy delicacies at lower prices while reducing food waste.
First started, we didn't aim to get some financial, benefit. Before Too Good To Go, we've been trying to work with charities as well, but they're supposed to come here and collect some food, but it wasn't working that well. Since we started with Too Good To Go, we are saving almost like, let's say, 3-4 portions of salad, big box of salads every day almost.
Food waste is not only an ethical concern, but an environmental one as well. Discarded food produces between 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Nowadays, sustainable consumption is no longer a choice, it's a necessity.
This app is just a beginning to raise people's awareness of food waste, and people should do more on tackling the problem. Anna-Maria Tesfaye, East London Lines, Hackney.
Some breaking news now. A teenager has been charged with the murder of a 16-year-old former Lewisham boy at East Croydon Station. That was on Monday. Mary Litchfield reports.
Just a few days ago, this was the scene of a brutal attack. Louis Johnson, who was just 16, was stabbed to death at East Croydon Station, just on the railway bridge in front of us. As you can see, there are flowers and tributes being laid by family and friends behind us.
Well, the suspect, a 16-year-old boy from Wansford, who could not be named for legal reasons, was arrested on Wednesday morning. He is due to appear in Highbury Coroner Magistrates Court on Friday, January 31st. Now it's over to our newsroom to find out what we are covering on our news website. Shahir, what have you got this week?
This week in the newsroom has been a busy one. With Brexit around the corner, there's an air of uncertainty amongst EU citizens in Lewisham. For more, check out www.eastlondonlines.co.uk. The famous winter lights at Canary Wharf have just finished, and Hackney school children are becoming engineers for the day. All this and more on eastlondonlines.co.uk.
You're watching ELL Plus with me, Ilaria, Cafaro and Ellen Coughlan. We're going to take a short break.
See you in a few minutes, where we'll be finding out about the shadow hanging over Chinese New Year with the coronavirus.
Welcome back to ELL Plus.
People in Tower Hamlets have been celebrating Chinese New Year, which started last Saturday. There's a range of events taking place in Whitechapel, organised by the Chinese Association of Tower Hamlets with help from the council.
A shadow has been hanging over the start of the year with a rat caused by the coronavirus outbreak in China, but celebrations continue. Mary Litchfield reports.
The lion dance is a traditional dance in Chinese culture. Here the dancers move as one to imitate a lion's movement in celebration of Chinese New Year. The residents of Tower Hamlets are here at the Idea Store in Whitechapel to celebrate Chinese New Year. 2020 is the year of the rat, and the animal is seen as a sign of intelligence in Chinese culture. The council has worked with the Chinese Association of Tower Hamlets to create free activities and festivities.
The Chinese have a very important role within Tower Hamlets historically, and a place and a home here. And what we'd like to do at the Chinese New Year is to welcome people to understand a little bit more about the Chinese culture.
People are trying their hand at different traditional arts and crafts, including calligraphy and watercolour painting, which is a lot harder than it looks.
We're trying to bring up our daughter bilingually. So I think it's important for her also to understand her culture and her grandparents' culture on both sides. So I want her to see the lanterns and to eat some traditional food, and to, as she grows up, understand Chinese characters and writing. And this is, since it's very close by, the library seemed a good place to come and bring her.
Chinese New Year officially began on January the 25th. The celebration continues until the 4th of February. And a few days later, the Lantern Festival kicks off. The residents of Tower Hamlets have come here to celebrate Chinese New Year. There's an abundance of activities here, including calligraphy, watercolour painting, and even a lion dance. However, with the news of the outbreak of the coronavirus, it's understandable that some people might be worried for their relatives in China. The British Department of Health is actually trying to trace 2,000 people who have just come over from Wuhan to the UK in the past couple of weeks. But the people here aren't letting that dampen their celebrations or their spirits. Mary Litchfield, East London Lines, Whitechapel.
An event to mark International Holocaust Memorial Day has been held in Hackney. This year is the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
Among the speakers at Hackney Town Hall event was a concentration camp survivor. Salma Abdurrazag reports.
The ceremony took place in Hackney Town Hall and included presentations and personal recollections from a Holocaust survivor, followed by the laying of a floral tribute at the Holocaust Memorial Tree in the Town Hall Square in Murr Street. Harry Ulmer is a survivor of the Holocaust. He remembered how men who were no longer able to work were shot. He described how women and children were loaded onto trucks, and that was the last time he saw his mother.
The world will stop today to remember one of the darkest periods in human history, the genocide of the Jews during the Second World War. Today in Hackney, they commemorate the 75th Memorial Day of the Holocaust, where around 6 million people were murdered.
There were a Jewish prayer which was read out loud. And the Speaker of Hackney Council, Cam Adams, was also at the event.
What race you are, what nationality you are, if you're Jewish, if you're whatever it may be, just to be together, to live together and to help one another, and that will help and that to stop anything coming in the future.
It is important to have this memorial, first of all, to remember people that, the victims of this, atrocity.
Holocaust Memorial Day is the International Day of Remembrance for the victims of the Holocaust and other genocides. Monday marked 75 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau, as well as the 25th anniversary of the genocide in Bosnia. Salma, Abdurrazag, East London Lines, Hackney.
That's all for today. Thank you for joining us on ELL Plus. Goodbye from me, Ilaria Cafaro.
And from me, Ellen Collin. And don't forget to check out our website, www.eastlondonlines.co.uk for the latest. Goodbye for now.